Welcome to IAS project. In this video, we will be talking about SCO, that is Shanghai Cooperation Organization. SCO is a permanent intergovernmental organization which was created in 2001. SCO is a political, economic, security and military alliance. However, it must not be confused that military alliance here does not mean it is similar to NATO, which has components like collective security aspects. SCO Charter was signed in 2002 and it entered into force in 2003. SCO was originally established in 1996 as Shanghai 5. 5 represents 5 countries which established Shanghai 5, that is China, Russia, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan and Tajikistan. They established Shanghai 5 after having border demarcation and demilitarization agreements. Later, Uzbekistan joined in 2001 and Shanghai Cooperation Organization was established from Shanghai 5. So, after joining of Uzbekistan, Shanghai 5 simply became SCO. India and Pakistan joined recently in 2017. We have also seen that during September 2021, Iran has started accession agreements to become a full member of SCO. It may become a full member within next 2 years. SCO is world's largest regional organization with approximately 40% of world's population as well as 30% of global GDP in terms of purchasing power parity. Let's look at SCO members and SCO observers on the map. The red color here represents SCO members, that is Russia, China, India, Pakistan, Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, Kyrgyzstan and Tajikistan. SCO observers are 4. They are shown here in green, that is Afghanistan, Iran, Belarus and Mongolia. SCO also has 6 dialogue partners. They are Armenia, Azerbaijan, Cambodia, Nepal, Sri Lanka, Turkey. SCO also has 4 guest invitees which are United Nations, ASEAN, Commonwealth of Independent States, which are actually members of erstwhile USSR. So after USSR split up, they formed a Commonwealth of Independent States. Also, Turkmenistan is a guest invitee. From exam point of view, SCO members as well as SCO observers are important. Let's look at the structure of SCO. At the top is Council of Heads of State and then Council of Heads of Government. It must be remembered here that in case of India, the Prime Minister attends Council of Heads of State, although he is not head of state, he is only head of government. In case of India, in the Council of Heads of Government, instead of Prime Minister, generally Vice President attends. Below Council of Heads of State and Council of Heads of Government, we have Council of Foreign Ministers. Council of Foreign Ministers is actually the body which does most of the work and prepares the agenda for these 2 meetings above. We also have a RATS Council and SCO Secretariat. Within SCO, there is also scope for interactions of non-governmental institutions. Let's look at the structure of SCO in detail. The first and topmost authority is Heads of State Council. So this is the supreme decision-making body within the SCO. In case of India, we have seen that head of government is Prime Minister, but he does not attend the Head of Government Council. Heads of State Council meets once a year at SCO Summit. That is also called as SCO Heads of State Summit. SCO Summit adopts regulations and all important matters related to SCO. Heads of State Council also appoints heads of SCO Secretariat as well as SCO RATS. SCO Secretariat and SCO RATS are 2 permanent bodies of SCO. SCO Secretariat is located in Beijing and SCO RATS, which is Regional Anti-Terrorist Structure, is headquartered in Tashkent, which is in Uzbekistan. Heads of State Council and Heads of Government Council hold 2 different summits annually. Heads of Government Council meet once a year at its SCO HGC Summit or Heads of Government Council Summit. It discusses the organization's multilateral cooperation strategy as well as priority areas. Heads of Government Council also approves SCO's annual budget. Apart from these two bodies, we also have mechanisms for meetings of heads of parliament, ministers of foreign affairs, defense, and other ministries. Let's look at SCO permanent bodies in detail. SCO Secretariat is located in Beijing. SCO Secretariat is headed by a Secretary General who is elected for a period of 3 terms by 8 SCO members. SCO RATS Committee, which is Regional Anti-Terrorist Structure Committee or Anti-Terrorist Structure Executive Committee, is headquartered in Tashkent. SCO RATS promotes cooperation against 3 evils, that is terrorism, separatism, and extremism. SCO RATS is actually very helpful from India's point of view in engaging with Pakistan as well as Afghanistan. The director of SCO RATS Executive Committee is elected for a term of 3 years by permanent members of SCO. Let's look at how Shanghai Cooperation Organization works. As we have seen, Heads of State Council is the supreme decision-making body. SCO also holds military exercises regularly. They promote cooperation and coordination, especially against external as well as internal threats like separatism and extremism. External threats can include border crisis. SCO is an observer at UNGA, that is UN General Assembly. SCO RATS closely coordinates with other bodies like African Union's ACSRT, that is African Center for Study and Research on Terrorism. Official languages of Shanghai Cooperation Organization are Chinese as well as Russian. English is not an official language of Shanghai Cooperation Organization. SCO is driven by Shanghai Spirit. Based on Shanghai Spirit, SCO pursues its internal policy based on below given principles, that is mutual trust, equality, respect for cultural diversity, mutual benefits, mutual consultations, and desire for common development. Also, based on Shanghai Spirit, SCO pursues its external policy based on these principles, that is non-alignment, non-targeting of any third country, and openness. Let's look at Shanghai Cooperation Organization from India's perspective. Let's look at positives first. Through SCO, India can raise issues of terrorism and separatism, which actually emerge from our western border, that is from Pakistan. In 2006, SCO also added combating international drug trafficking to its agenda. We know that India is located between Golden Crescent and Golden Triangle. Golden Crescent actually includes Iran, Afghanistan, and Pakistan. Golden Triangle has Myanmar, Vietnam, Laos PDR, and Cambodia. Golden Crescent and Golden Triangle forms the most highest drug producing and drug trafficking areas within the world. As India is located between these two zones, there is a high risk for India for importing of drugs or for transshipment of drugs. That means that drugs can reach from Golden Crescent into India and they can spread to other locations like Southeast Asia, Africa, into Europe and to the Americas. Similarly, from the Golden Triangle also, drugs can come into India and then they can go into different places. This is a huge risk for India. SCO can help India in combating this international drug trafficking in Indian territory. SCO is also seen to counterbalance NATO in the region. For example, we have seen that in last 3 decades, Afghanistan, Iran, and Iraq have suffered terribly due to influences or involvement in one way or other of NATO. For example, in Afghanistan and Iraq, direct invasion by NATO was done. So SCO can be seen as counterbalance to NATO in the region. SCO can be used to engage Central Asia, which is rich in energy, minerals, and in need of trade and infrastructure. Let's look at the negatives or challenges. SCO is seen as anti-West or anti-NATO alliance. Therefore, India's presence within this organization may not go well with the Western allies of India like USA and Europe. Iran's membership in future can upset India's relations with West. As we know, Iran's relation with West is very bad right now. So this means that once Iran's accession has been accepted and Iran becomes a full member of SCO, there may be pressure from USA and Europe on India maybe to leave the organization or to oppose Iran's membership or Iran's plans. Also, security challenges are too high. Separatism, drugs, and extremism are endemic factors or endemic problems within the region. Therefore, SCO is not fully equipped to adapt to these problems. Also, in SCO, we have authoritarian countries like China and Russia in lead role, which is not good for democracies like India. Let's look at some of the questions related to SCO. Which of the following countries is not a member of SCO? Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, and Turkmenistan. We know that Turkmenistan is not a member. So the correct answer is 4. Read the below statements related to Shanghai Cooperation Organization and then answer which of the above statements is not correct. First statement is SCO Secretariat is located in Shanghai. This is false. We know that it is located in Beijing. RAT's Executive Committee is headquartered in Uzbekistan. This is right, in Tashkent city. English is an official language of SCO. This is wrong because we know Chinese and Russian are official languages of SCO. So the correct answer would be which of the following statements is not correct. So 1 and 3 are not correct. So the correct option is 3. Please like and share this video and subscribe to IAS project. Thank you.